Hey guys, it's Kyle here bringing you another PC build. You guys really seem to enjoy the first one, so I decided why not and do another one. And since the RAM prices has gone up, sadly, even though I'm not buying a RAM for myself, it does hurt to see it go up to such a high price. Anyways, starting off with the CPU, we're going to want to grab the i3 7100. This is a really good CPU for the price point, which is around $100. Depending on where you go, the price can be lower or it can be higher. The great thing about this CPU is that it gives you more bang for your buck than the G4560, considering they are at relative price points of about $20 difference, maybe a little bit more, like I said, depending on where you get it from. Next off, our motherboard we will want to be grabbing is the Gigabyte GA-Z270P D3 ATX board. This board is on the 1151 socket and wouldn't require a BIOS update, which is literally the best thing, especially if this is your first computer or you're building your first computer. Having to do a BIOS update is super annoying. And from what I can tell, this board is laid out pretty nicely where everything is next to each other. On a couple older boards I've had it where they spread out the fan connectors and it was hard for my fans to be wired correctly without being all over the place. So it's always nice to just plug them in the same route. Next up is our RAM, and this is the sad part of the build where everything starts to make you question, is it really worth it? Well, the answer is yes, don't even worry about it, but it does hurt your wallet more than I think it should. Anyways, we'll want to pick up a single stick of G.Skills Ripjaw's 8GB. This is DDR4 RAM clocked at 2800 megahertz, which is really high clock speed. I really couldn't find anything around like 2133 or 2400 megahertz for anything cheaper. I try to stay away from like value RAM, like RAM without a heat sink, mainly because I just think it looks ugly, and even the value RAM is even $83, so it's still really expensive. And that's just for a single stick. If you wanted dual sticks, I think it was like $86. Moving on with our hard drive, we are going to be picking up the standard. Put this to just about every build. It's a Western Digital 1TB hard drive. Like I said, if you like Seagate, you can go with Seagate. I just prefer Western Digital, but you'll want to be grabbing a 1TB hard drive. You can pick up this hard drive actually on SuperBiz for about $42, which is pretty nice. Up next, we're gonna be grabbing a power supply. This power supply is gonna be a Corsair VS 500 watt power supply. This is 80 plus certified, and the power supply is about $43 unless you wanted to use the rebate. You can get it for about $33. For our case, we wanted to go with the Fractal Design Focus G ATX mid-tower case. I'm going to be honest, this is a really nice case for the price point of $40, and it does have some really handy compartments for cable routing, which is always good to have, especially if you're just starting out. Like I said previously, you don't want to waste too much time routing your cables and stuff like that. Also, this case does have a window. I prefer cases with windows just because I love looking at the computer, and if you wanted a case without a window, it wouldn't be too much harder to find one. And more than likely, you're probably going to save a little bit more money if you did. But just be aware that if you do find a case under like $40, usually they are more cheaply made. So up next is going to be our monitor, which is a really nice deal they have going on for a great monitor. This is the Acer K242 HQL. It's a 23-inch monitor. Newegg currently has this deal going on. If you sign up through their email, or you give them your email, you can get this monitor for $90. This monitor does not come with speakers though, but it's 23 inches, 1 millisecond response time. It is widescreen monitor with a resolution of 1920 by 1080p, so 1080p. Moving on with our keyboard and mouse, we are going with the Cooler Master Devastator keyboard and mouse combo. This is probably the best keyboard and mouse combo there is for about $30. You get a pretty cool looking keyboard and a pretty decent mouse. You can get the keyboard and mouse cheaper if you wanted to go with the rebates. I think it's like $15 on Newegg. So, you spend $30 and you get $15 back for the rebate. Last but certainly not least is going to be our GPU, which is going to be the best part of this build for sure. We're going to be picking up the GTX 1060 3GB card. You can pick this card up for about $200. I wouldn't recommend spending too much more than the MSRP of $200. Otherwise, you might as well consider going with a better card, in my opinion. Anyways, this is an excellent card. This will play just about any game you want on 1080p, and even a decent amount of games in 2K with mixed settings. Currently, I have the 6GB card, and it's really strong. I can play any games I want at just about any settings. There's usually isn't too much difference between the cards besides like the 3 gigabytes of RAM, and it is underclocked a little bit. But other than that, it's a really good card, and I'd recommend it for anyone wanting to pick up a new card for about $200. There is another option though if you wanted to go with a AMD build or whatever. The other card I would recommend is the RX 570. You can find the Power Color card for about $180 using a rebate. So it's another strong card at the price point. I almost forgot to mention this. You can actually get Windows 10 on Kingwin for your operating system. This normally costs you about $34 with tax. If you decide to go with their little protection thing. Anyways, video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy today's video, please be sure to leave a like. If you didn't, then leave a dislike. Leave a comment for future video suggestions. I always want to hear what you guys like. If you want to see more of me, then be sure to subscribe. I try to post as often as I can. As always, this has been Kyle, and I'll see you in the next one.